Hello, I am your Kingdom Spiritual Transformational and Life Purpose Life Coach and Mentor, Latricia Booker. And we are here to be empowered, to heal, to get delivered, and to get free. We know who we are. We elevate our minds and our spirits and raise and expand our consciousness to ultimately walk in our true divine purpose and power. And that is the truth of who God has created us to be. Kingdom people, we are history makers, we are world changers, we are dream successors, we are wealth generators, we are manifestors, we are curse breakers, and we most definitely are transformers. More than meets the eye. Yeah, Kingdom people, we are. Kingdom people, thank you so very much for viewing my videos. Thank you for the likes, subscribe, shares, all your comments and feedback. Thank you for all your financial contributions to my channel and for all the seeds that you sow into me and my ministry. Thank you for your bookings and for all of your purchases. Kingdom people, thank you for everything that you do here. Thank you. So Kingdom people, I am on location and I'm here so we can break these chains. Are y'all ready to elevate? Are you ready to activate? Let's go. So Kingdom people, here's the deal. They tried to downplay your calling. They're trying to downplay your calling. And so there are people, Kingdom people, that, they try to minimize you and say, oh no, she ain't doing nothing, he ain't doing nothing, oh that ain't nothing, oh I can do that, oh anybody can do that. But here's the thing, something that God keeps saying to me is, I sent you. And not just that, Kingdom people, but you are anointed to do what it is you do. And God called you and you answered the call. And so the thing is, the very fact that you are called to what it is that you do, whatever that is, Kingdom people, just being who you are, people will minimize just who you are, just because you are who you are. And really what that is, when people feel like they got to downplay others in that way, it's because they really don't like who they are or where they are, their lot in life. And so in an effort to make themselves feel better about that, their stance in life, they try to downplay you. And they try to downplay your calling, like literally what God called you to do. They try to downplay that. And that's actually a dangerous thing to do because God called you. So for someone to try to minimize it and say, or just, act like it's nothing, or act like, and I'm not saying they should act like it's something, but to act like it's nothing and to proactively attempt to downplay it, that's like downplaying God, downplaying what God's doing in you, through you, what he called you to. But Kingdom people, these people, them ones, they tried to downplay your calling. But just because they tried to downplay your calling don't mean your calling is not what it is. And I'm just literally hearing, and that's why they sit and watch you. They sit and watch you move and walk and operate in your calling. But then they try to downplay it. And here's the thing. If it was nothing, like they like to say it is, or it's nothing, or whatever they said, why they keep watching you? Why they trying to keep up with you? Just to downplay you, downplay your calling. And here's the other thing that Kingdom people, some people are not in their calling. Some people, maybe it's not even time for them to be in it per se. But you know how that thing goes, wherever you are, you should really just be where you're supposed to be. We're always at different places at different times in our lives. And we have to learn how to be content with where God has us. But that's the key. Be where God has you. And many of these people are not where God has them. Or they're just not content with where God has them. So what they do is externalize how they're feeling about where they are, where they're not, where they probably are called to, that they don't want to be because they're too busy looking at you and really liking what they see in you, really wanting to be what they see in you, or something like that, wanting to emulate it or something like that. But instead of just letting that be that, they have to downplay it. They have to, again, minimize you to make themselves feel better about themselves, which don't work, by the way. That doesn't work. It only makes them feel worse. Even in the moment, they only feel worse and worse because that's the energy that you put out. And remember, what you put out, you get back. So if you sit and try to bring somebody else down or downplay them, and they just minding their business, doing what they do, what you're really doing is downplaying and minimizing yourself, and you're going to be the one to feel that, whoever is doing it. You're going to get what you put out. If you hating on somebody else, guess what you're going to get? Hate in yourself about yourself. If you hating on someone's calling and trying to minimize it, guess what? You're going to hate where you at in life, and you're not going to get to your calling or get to wherever it is in your mind, in their mind, they want to be, if anything at all. Because what I've learned, Kingdom people, some people don't even have no dreams, goals, and visions. They really, I heard this morning in the identity crisis. They don't know who they are. They don't know. They just there. But they want to downplay your calling because of whatever they have going on. And again, instead of just, I probably didn't say this, learning from you, and maybe you're an example to them, but many a times the issue is people were thinking they were better than you. And so when people walking around thinking they were better than you, and then you rise into your calling a little more, you step it up a little more, then, it becomes an issue for them. They want to downplay it because in their mind, they thought they were better than you. And I don't want to go too much into this because that's something, a whole nother subject matter, but God does that on purpose. God allows these people to walk around thinking they're better than you because God already be knowing he going to turn that thing around. He already know what he put in you, what he called you to do. Not that he didn't call some of these people to some things to do, but God already know how that's going to go with them, because when you're walking around thinking you're better than somebody because you really don't like yourself, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what that is. When you thinking you better than somebody, you really don't like yourself. And to even think you better than somebody, who looks down on people? But somebody that really don't like themselves. They may have a certain stance in life, may have a certain position, may be married, may have this, may got a little something, little money. So they allow that they feed their ego. They allow that to make them feel like they're better than you. And some of you all, you may have come from humble beginnings, a lowly place. You have maybe had some rougher terrains to move through. And so they planted in their man because maybe theirs wasn't quite like that. And maybe they were in a better position in their mind than you. But the thing is, at some points in their life, in your life, they thought they were better than you. But who's to say who's going to be who and how that's going to go? And the thing is, Kingdom people, God had a calling on you. And you're walking in your calling. You're moving into it. And they are trying to downplay it. Because, again, they thought they was better than you. Not that you think you better than anybody, but that's what they say, too. They say, you think you're better. Now that you just stepped it up. When God said, come on, let's do this. Let's rise up. Let's step into this. When you did that, they started saying, you think you better. But all along, they were thinking they were better. Anyway, they tried to downplay your calling. And your calling, Kingdom people, is discipleship. Your overall calling is discipleship. So in essence, they're trying to downplay your discipleship. But what I can tell you about these people is that they are not true disciples of Jesus. Because the very fact they're trying to downplay your calling, trying to downplay who you are, trying to downplay your discipleship, is an indication that they're not Christ disciples. I'm reminded of Jesus and how they were trying to downplay him, who he was. And he was Jesus. The same with you. They tried to downplay your calling, your discipleship, because they not Jesus disciples. So kind of what I'm saying is, because they not with God, they don't walk with God, they don't know God like that, God don't know them like that, it kind of makes sense. Because that's what has been done. Listen, history repeating itself, okay? If Jesus went through it, then surely we're going to go through that. John 17:20-23 says, I am praying not only for these disciples, but also for all who will ever believe in me through their messages. I pray that they will all be one, just as you and I are one, as you are in me, Father, and I am in you. And may they be in us, so that the world will believe you sent me. I have given them the glory you gave me, so they may be one as we are. I am in them, and you are in me. May they experience such perfect unity that the world would know that you sent me and that you love them as much as you love me. So this passage is just speaking about when you are one with God. When you are one with God and you were sent, God sent you. And the hope is that people will recognize that God sent you. That's your calling. You got a calling. You answering your calling. So God is going to send you to some places. And the hope is that people will recognize that. But unfortunately, some don't. And it says, I have given them the glory you gave me, so they may be one as we are one. And that's Jesus, seeing that he's giving his people, that's you, kingdom people, the glory, so that they may be one as we are one. You're one with him. You're one with Jesus. You're one with Jesus, and you're one with God. But all together, Jesus and God, you are all one. And so, just going back to verse 20, I am praying not only for these disciples, but also for all who will ever believe in me through their messages. So again, you're called. You're answering your calling. You're answering your discipleship. You are sharing messages, whether you speak openly, publicly, or wherever you do it at, or your message is just in your life, the way you move, the way you operate, the way you operate in your calling, the way you operate in your discipleship, whatever that is, there's a message that's there. Let me give you an example. You can have a workplace. You can go to work. Let's just say you work at a bank, and your manager at the bank just handle you all with such grace. She's such a loving person, and she always has something positive to say. She's always in high energy and just treats you all good. Make sure her employees are paid on time. Make sure that you all have time off. Tend to you and just have a very loving disposition. And there's a message there. There's a message that anyone that experiences your manager at the bank, there's a message that anyone dealing with her will receive. For one is love, and people might think, oh, she's really good. Oh, she's a really nice. Oh, she really looks after us. Those are all messages, kingdom people. And so I'm saying all that to say, whether she speaks openly, messages or ministers or, whatever it may be, whether she does that or not, she's still doing that. She's still sending certain messages. Interacting with her is sending messages to people, anyone who experiences her. And so the same with you, kingdom people. You are called, and you answered your calling. You are a disciple of Christ. And so the hope is that those disciples, wait a minute, let me say it again. I am praying not only for these disciples, but also, you're the disciple, but also for all who will ever believe in me through their message. So here's the point that I'm making here. Kingdom people, these ones that are trying to downplay your calling, the hope was for they will believe in God, in Jesus, through the message that God called you to bring to the people. But unfortunately, instead, these people are trying to downplay your calling. And because they're trying to downplay your calling, they could never receive what you are called to do. Even for them, where they're concerned, because they're downplaying it. So you can't receive from something that you downplay. It's impossible. It's the opposite. And so, kingdom people, they was trying to downplay your calling. They probably still trying to downplay your calling. And your calling is overall discipleship for Christ, of course. And, the truth of the matter is that they miss out. They miss out on what you were called to do, even for them, because they downplaying your calling. They miss out. And then they get angry and mad. Did I go there? They do. Some of the ones, they get angry and mad because you pull back your presence. But the scriptures say, when they don't receive you, you shake out the dust and you keep moving. You don't press the issue. And sometimes you just got to move around because, many of these people are being used by the enemy. You know, when they are operating these demonic spirits, you know, they attack you. You know, the enemy is going to use who he can around you to attack you. And unfortunately, these people have not had, they walking around with a lot of demons in them. And so because of that, you may have had to remove yourself at some point. But while you were there, there was a message. And even after, for those who watch you, you know, watch you in some kind of capacity, still there's a message. But instead of getting the message of Christ, the message that of the, you know, to help them to overcome, to see the light, to see God's glory, and to move towards that, towards God, and not you per se, or be trying to downplay you, kingdom people, you know, they do that instead of receiving the message, receiving your calling, receiving what God has called you to do. Instead, they downplay your calling. And so because of that, they miss out on your calling. They miss out on it. And that's all I have to say about that. So, kingdom people, if you like this video and if it resonates with you, please just go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Then click on that red subscribe button and subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so. Thank you. Then click on that bell right next to that red subscribe button so that you can receive a notification every time I upload a new video, something like this from Kingdom People. Also, if you are interested in any of the services that I presently offer, if you would like to listen to my podcast show, if you would like to sow a seed into me and my ministry, if you would like to follow me on any of my other social medias, you can find all that information right down below in the description box, along with other helpful resources. Kingdom People, you know I love you all so very much. I don't want to leave you, but I do have to go right now. But I will be back to hold my kingdom people down. Now, with that being said, much love, light, and peace, and many blessings to you all. Above all else, let the Holy Spirit lead you in all things at all times. Kingdom people, we are unstoppable, we are unmovable, we are unbreakable, and we are unshakable. That is my time. Jesus Girl is out. Peace.